I love chaos.
Yeah,
I
why?
do.
Why?
Because I think it is the essence of creativity. It is the Big Bang Theory.
Okay. You've got to get a bit messy before something grows out of it.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And how did you become aware of Spare Tyre? How did they first pop onto your
Now, isn't
radar?
that a really interesting question? So, in the late 70s, there were lots of community arts groups popping up, especially in London, and that was partly to do with the GLC and Ken Livingstone, who was funding a lot of these groups. So I was busy working with a little-known company called Tara Arts, an Asian theatre company, and across the river there was another company called Spare Tyre, a feminist theatre company. And we used to meet them at Chats Palace every now and then when we were all doing our thing.
Yeah.
And I vowed not to have anything to do with Spare Tyre at the age of 17.
And why didn't you want anything to do with them? What was it about those
So
people?
interestingly enough, it's around the question of what is feminism, and Spare Tyre's philosophies at that time were just not aligning with my views about what feminism is, and I guess that's cultural, where it was coming from, and so it just was not connecting with me at all. So I do regularly laugh at myself that here I am now, how many years later, running the organisation.
I was going to ask you what happened in the in-between, but then presumably the director role is advertised at some point a lot later?
Yes, and this is my little famous number around about 2000. There was a little ad that popped up in The Guardian. In those days, that's what happened. You found your jobs in The Guardian. And it was advertising for an associate director. And I looked at it and it said, making musical theatre for London communities. Now, I don't do musical theatre. But I started to read the bump on it and I thought, community arts is my thing. It's my bag. That's what I've always done. And I just thought I'd put an application in and see, it was a way of meeting and talking to people.
Yeah.
And so I went along and was interviewed by 3 people and they offered me the job.
So then you end up bringing your toolkit, the one that you've built, into Spare Tyre.
Yes.
And so what did you do first? What's the first things you did?
So when I interviewed for the job, it was to work with the group of adults with learning disabilities, and I've always done that.
Yeah.
And I suppose that was part of my why I was attracted to the job as well, to be able to do that. So that's what I went in to do, to direct a show with them. And they kind of just escalated from there, I would say. So, went in to do that, did a project with homeless people, made the project with adults with learning disabilities into a course.
Like a teaching course?
A theatre course.
Okay.
Skills, building their skills, which was always all built around soft skills.
Yeah.
But it was an accredited OCN course. Which we developed. It wasn't me on my own, and we were working with some really, really skilled artists. So people like Joe Paul, Julia Sharman, Isaac Ngugi.
Yeah.
So so that's how that all started to develop. And I guess that's where the practice started to develop as well, because actually I was attached to an organisation. It became embedded. That toolkit was explored and exploited and changed.
What happens if people stay around for a while and people come through the company and...
So I guess what happens is that a language develops. You're not having to constantly justify your ideas or explain your ideas or teach your ideas. It's just a given. You start from a different place when you start the creation of a project or a product. A lot of it is around collaboration and co-production. So, we may have our designated titles, but actually we all know that there's a lot of co-production that goes on with our participants and our artists. And I guess one of the difficult things is that, you know, the artists are asked to do a lot of things, you know, when they're working. They're asked to be artists, they're asked to be facilitators, and they are asked for their egos to be left outside, actually, so that they can be open to whatever is happening in the room and respond to it and be reactive and improvise.
And is that difficult for them?
I don't think everyone can do it. I don't think every artist can do it, actually. So I think that's when you say who stays. It is there's a certain tribe that stays. There's a certain tribe.
Do they have anything in common? That tribe?
Yeah, I think they are good listeners. I think they have the work is all about the heart, being responsive and gut reactions.
Yeah.
I think there's a different kind of humanity in it, in the work that's produced within those artists as well.
Yeah.
They're not afraid of risk. In fact, I would say that most of us thrive on it.
Yeah.
You know, just because the discovery is just so gorgeous.
So I'm interested in, from the day that you walked in until now, what are the things that you've started to pick up? What do you notice? What's grown?
I think one of the things I did move away from was actually doing scripted work. So there's a lot of devising work that goes on that's improvised.
Yeah.
And that was partly because of the groups that we were working with and the individuals that we were working with. If you're wanting an individual to kind of find their way of expressing themselves, sometimes it's not always through the written word, or it's not through the word. And so therefore we had to find how they wanted to express themselves.
Yeah.
So it could have happened through movement and dance, it could have happened through music, it could have happened through visual art, it could have happened through theatre in its widest sense. And when you do that, then you are moving away from scripted work.
Yeah.
So it was left open to improvisation, you know, providing that structure and say, this is the structure, this is the frame, but within that frame you can do what you want.
Yeah.
So you're building up teams in a way to understand, to respond and react to each other. You're building up ensembles.
Yeah.
You're building up. That's what it
Body
is.
of knowledge.
Body of knowledge.
And so one of the points that we've connected at before is through the connected culture work. And one of my take-homes from that was to realise that actually the role that the arts organisation plays for participants is as equal to the role that it plays for commissioners. You sort of sit in the middle. As a company lead, how do you navigate through that? Or has it changed? Has it changed much?
At first, perhaps I was afraid.
I was petrified.
I was petrified.
Go on.
Because the commissioners did frighten me.
Okay.
Because they would have an agenda.
Yeah.
And I was looking around and saying, actually, all the work that we do has to be funded, because actually the groups that we work with are actually quite poor, and it's rare that we will ask them to pay for things. I guess one of the things that we had to do was to make our products a little bit more better, actually. And once we earned their respect, that actually it wasn't just, you know, fluffy, what I call pink and fluffy community work, but actually there was quality behind it. There was production values behind it. People were more ready to speak to us, I think. And so we were able to talk to them. So, you know, you felt an equality around the table.
Yeah.
That, you know, they were willing to listen because they could see what we were doing was having some kind of an effect. It was having some kind of impact on the people that we were working with.
And where does the work succeed most then?
You see it working and being successful in the moment.
Yeah.
You know? And in a way, that's why you wake up in the morning, for that moment of when you see somebody just light up, when you see someone just produce something amazing, and you say that was worth it, because they feel empowered, they feel valued, they feel important.
Yeah.
How they carry that through into the rest of their life, I guess you don't know, but you just hope that they will take that experience with them. And maybe you won't know about it immediately, but it may have a knock-on effect 2, 5, 10 years later in their lives. I think the other thing about Spare Tyre right now is that actually our door is always open, and everyone who works with us, doesn't matter what they do, know that the door is open.
I'm interested in the difference between planning and retrospection. So how do you proceed? When you talked about going from avoiding overheated spots.
I don't stop being an artist, and an artist is about being curious and asking, but what if? Or how did that happen? Or if we went and looked into that area, what would happen? And so it's about what you as artists get excited about, really. And I guess that's how it happens. That's the discovery that happens, and being alert and being open to that all the time.
Do you think you ask questions differently now than when you started?
Yes, because when I first started, I wasn't really asking questions because I was delivering other people's work.
Okay.
So I wasn't able to ask the questions, and I think the joy of being where I am right now and holding the position that I hold is that I am able to ask those questions. And I hope that actually everyone who works for us feels that they can ask the questions as well.
And Spare Tyre's hit its 40th. Why archive now? Why get into this now?
We've all been so busy doing and making that actually we haven't stopped to put our stories down. And if we don't stop to do that, there is no one else who's going to do it. There's a realization that actually we have a lot of young people who come through wanting to learn about the stories, the practices, but actually they can do it by learning on the job as well. But actually it's time to put some of those stories down, to say actually this didn't just happen, there was an evolution that happened that brought us. That's not to say that the practice needs to stay the same. It absolutely can keep evolving, but I think they're just, I as a person of colour, I also feel very strongly about this, that actually where is my story? And if I don't put it down, who will?
So I'm really interested in how you navigate that territory, and I think it's partly because you've opened up the organisation. So it isn't like it isn't 6 people in a room all the time.
No.
It's a much more porous kind of thing than that.
And and that can cause conflict. That can cause an extreme amount of chaos as well. But actually, it is also very dynamic.
So from this moment, what we is in now, if you was to go, what do you think Spare Tyre's contribution is? What's its value been so far?
I think its value has been, even across the 40 years, of doing a fair amount of pioneering and risk-taking, actually. So from the moment of kind of like doing anti-homophobic work in schools, to having a gay youth theatre, to doing feminist theatre, its origins, to now doing non-verbal theatre for people living with dementia. I think that's, if it has a legacy, if it has an impact in the industry, it is really about kind of taking some of those risks.
And what would you hope it keeps doing then?
The same.
Stay risky.
Stay risky.